what is up, everybody? Divine Hood here, coming at you with another daily update on Bitcoin and the crypto markets. Welcome in, everybody. Decrypto, good afternoon to you. Samuel S44, thank you so much for the super chat, man. Thank you for being here. Thank you for modding. Appreciate that so much. And yeah, TNT, man, we are seeing some explosions in the works, that's for sure. Quiles, what's up, man? Welcome in. Omar, Iron, what's up to you? C-Train, what's up, man? Good to see you in here as always. Crypto OG Havoca, good afternoon as well. Not quicker. Please draw the biggest, most bullish squiggles on the chart that anyone has ever seen in the history of the galaxy. I mean, we could just do the, hold up, we got to go all the way to the monthly time frame, and we just got to have that big, one huge 350 sound okay? 400? We'll go to 400, okay? And we'll have this kind of big arcing thing in here. There we go. Let's make it happen. Good afternoon, not quicker. Our Pink, much love to you, man. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for modding for me as always, and thank you for just doing such a good job with it. Yeah, we did hit 4.1K. It's awesome. No, what's up, not crypto? That's for sure. That is for sure, man. It's been a bloodbath, guys. It's been a bloodbath, and this wasn't unexpected, though. I will say that. This wasn't unexpected. How about this? I will leave that on the chart, and we'll hide it. We won't delete it. There we go. We'll leave it on the chart and hide it. Right now, we are forming a bit of a consolidation triangle here, which, in my opinion, is kind of a bad sign, guys. And actually, while the volume's on the chart, let's zoom out real quick to the 4-hour time frame. And this is very important to understand. So I'm going to turn off that little triangle there. But you can see how volume is still increasing on this dump to the downside. We still have that big volume increase, meaning that this move is likely not done. The low is likely not put in here. Now, could we see a little bit of a relief rally in a wave 4 corrective move? Yes, we could. So one of the things that I talked about in yesterday's video, if you guys didn't catch yesterday's video, but from the 82K highs, we do have a pretty clean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a wave 1. And remember, we're looking for that big 5-wave impulse, right? And of course, it went a little bit different than we thought here. I thought it was going to be a little bit more drawn out. But what we can now say is our wave 1 maybe ended around that $74,200. Your wave 2 did retrace up to the 382. Now, the 382 is an uncommon target in a wave 2 correction. The most common targets are that golden pocket and 786 Fibonacci. But we did hit up into that 382. If you pull your Fibonacci from the start of the impulse to the end of the impulse, you can see we did hit into that 382, pretty much rejecting from that 382 Fibonacci. And after that rejection, we have started a giant cascade with massive increasing volume, meaning it is more likely to be a third wave to the downside. And honestly, we're continuing to push down. I don't even think this third wave is done with, guys. That's the thing. The end of the third wave is probably going to take out our 60K lows. So we'll probably get an SFP of those 60K lows at the third wave. Everyone's going to think that's going to be the macro low, or of course, we're going to see, including myself, by the way, we're going to see people playing that swing failure pattern. If I get the confirmation, I will take that long from there. But then our wave 4 can bring us back up to back test that value area low, or even the POC of the range. And then if we reject, we can see that last fifth and final wave to come down between $58,000 and $56,000, somewhere in this zone. And we've been looking for this impulse down. Remember, guys, as we were coming up here, actually weeks before, once we started bouncing from this support level in here, and I actually have the video where we were talking about this. And by the way, that support level at 74.2, we looked for the long there, and we were looking to bring it up to 82. And you can see that our 618 golden pocket is also in that zone really, really nicely. So I don't think a lot of people are paying attention to 82.5. I really am paying attention to this zone, 82, 82.5, as a potential rejection area. So yeah, and we've been looking at that zone for quite some time. We were looking at it as that ABC correction, as that bigger ABC in a contracting diagonal in an A wave, your 3-wave corrective move, and then a multiple 1-2 impulse in a C wave. And we knew that we could get very volatile price action from that area, from that resistance, the dump at $82,500. We knew we could get this big aggressive move down. Now, I did not think it was going to be as aggressive as it is been so far. I thought we were going to get a little bit of a bounce from the POC, which was also that actually the POC is lowered now. At the time the POC was at 68.8. You can see it was up here at 68.8, which is where the golden pocket was, and it's also where our bearish pitchfork band was. So I did think we would get a little bit of relief that would come in here, but we busted straight through it. Now, we busted straight through it. We came down to the value area low. You can see the value area low gave us a small bounce, but we couldn't change market structure bullishly, not even on like the lower time frames. And we lost it yesterday. And I told you guys, once we closed that daily candle yesterday below it, it was really a sign that to me that we're very, very likely, I would say 80+% chance likely that we are going to take out that 60K low. But we need to talk about this big third wave right here, because in my opinion, this third wave is not even done with. So if we're looking at this as a wave one, we got our wave two retraced to the 382 Fibonacci, which is a target. It's an uncommon target, but it's like your minimum target for wave two. And then this would be the start of the third wave. 1, 2, 3, right? So if we're looking at that big third wave, you can see very clearly we have a nice impulse down in a wave one, a nice corrective move up in a wave two. We're still kind of in that wave three. And the reason why I would say we're still in it is because our volume is still increasing on the dump. What we want to see now is a bit of a range that could take, 3-4 days or so, a three-wave corrective move, or even a triangle. Triangles are very common in wave four corrections, guys. And right now we are forming a triangle. And a triangle is also a continuation consolidation pattern, meaning if we dump coming into it, we have a higher likelihood of dumping coming out of it. And so are we going to see for the next couple of days the market start to kind of cool off just a bit and stagnate just a bit in this consolidation corrective move before seeing that fifth and final wave to the downside? And that would only be the end of your aggressive wave three. After that move, you're expecting a wave four correction, and I would expect it to be a bit bigger. And oftentimes your higher degree wave four correction will take out the highs of your lower degree wave four correction. So we can be looking around wherever this wave four that we're in right now, whether it's going to be a triangle or we're going to break out here and come up and back test that value area low. But once we see this third wave end, we're looking for now a larger corrective move in a fourth wave. And that fourth wave, higher degree fourth wave, always, or not always, commonly comes up to the resistance of your lower degree fourth wave. And you get that kind of SFP, and then we would expect one more impulse to the downside. And that impulse, I would expect us to come down and hit that $58,000 support level. To me, guys, $58,000 is such an important support level. And if you didn't watch yesterday's video, I covered the multiple confluences that we have down at 58,000. Naked monthly points of controls, naked weekly points of controls, daily levels. We have two major pitchforks that are ending down there. And the pitchforks, pitchfork trading, guys, to me is one of my bread and butters. And one of the major reasons I was looking for a rejection up here is because of our pitchfork midline. And in a bearish trend, I know there was a lot of chop through it at the beginning of this prior range, but we came down, we bounced from it, we tried to hold, and when you finally broke it down, that's when you saw your big capitulation happen. And very similar in this move, let me go ahead and hide this volume profile real quick. Very similar how we broke down through the pitchfork band in this move. We came all the way to the bottom of the pitchfork. We broke straight through the pitchfork band. No bounce, really. No support coming in. I expect us to move down to the bottom of that pitchfork. Now, this pitchfork, the bearish pitchfork, pulled based off of the major swing pivot points within our 2025, what I call the price discovery range, or our all-time high range. That was this upper range for pretty much all of 2025. And so those major pivot points are going to give us major support levels and major resistance levels within this bear market. So we have our more local pitchfork, our bear market pitchfork, looking at those lows at $58,000. But we also have our multi-cycle pitchfork. And this multi-cycle pitchfork, those lows, coming down at $58,000. We did a perfect rejection from the bearish backtest of that pitchfork. And very similar to the pitchfork I just showed you on Coinbase, which is a more local pitchfork, pulled from these pivots in here. We have a bigger one pulled from prior bull markets and bear markets. And we bust straight through the band you often come back up to bearishly backtest it, and then you usually drop to the bottom, and hopefully the bottom holds, because if the bottom doesn't hold, then you're losing your larger trend structure, and you could see a much deeper dump to the downside. That's when we could start looking into the high to mid 30s as a possibility. But I'm not looking at the high to mid 30s as a possibility until we start to close weekly candles below $56,000. Okay, let me see here. Liberty and Trust, what's up, man? Welcome in. It was good to see you in Jason's live stream, and much love to you, man. So I know, Liberty and Trust, you talked about the possibility that maybe this is the bottom. And one of the reasons I am wary on that, it could be, you know, we saw a very aggressive flash crash to end the bottom at 60K. So could that have been the end of our capitulation? And now we are going to see some moves back up. The reason why I don't think that is based off of the Elliott wave count. And once again, going into, let me just go back to the Coinbase chart here. Going back to this Elliott wave count here, even the third wave, 1, 2, 3, you know, I think we could be consolidating. And I posted in the Telegram earlier today a couple targets that I'm looking at. Let me go ahead and put that local TA on the chart. So if we're looking at, and I'm going to zoom into the 15 minutes so we can get a better look at this, but this was earlier today before all of this price action in here was forming. So I was looking at this as it right in here, and we were starting to come up here. I was looking at the 1-to-1 trend-based Fibonacci extinction, because there's a couple corrective moves we could have here. We could have the triangle here. We still could have that zigzag correction where you get that 3-wave corrective move up to the 1-to-1 or the 1.236. And then you could see that dump continue here. So if we're looking at our 4-month long range that we've been in, we know that we broke the value area low yesterday. We closed below the value area low. Well, you can see our 1-to-1 trend-based Fibonacci extinction is coming up right into that bearish backtest of the value area low, right around 65,550-ish. And even more confluence is the backtest of the pitchfork band that we busted straight through. Oftentimes you will see an immediate low time frame backtest of that pitchfork band, and if it rejects, you expect that move down. We have the resistance now of the pitchfork band at like 66.4 along with that 1.236. So this zone in here, and I would even actually extend that zone a little bit higher to where our POC is. And I get that that's a big zone. Now, I'm not taking this as one big zone. I would be taking it as separate, smaller zones. But I'm saying for our corrective move that could last a couple of days, this is kind of your primary area to see a rejection and continuation. What I would do personally, the way I would trade this in a short scalp trade to make new lows and to take out 60K is if we come up and we start to reject from that 1-to-1, I would attempt to take a short, and I would put my stop above that high, and then say maybe we just do something like this, and then we continue up. I would get stopped out on that trade, and then say maybe we come up here and we reject from here. I would try to re-enter a new short, putting my stop above that high, and either you say maybe that time you do get the breakdown. Or in the other case, you could continue pushing up to hit the POC, wick to the POC, but close like a 15-minute candle at or below the pitchfork band, and then I would enter the short there. Once we start to lose the pitchfork band, stop would go above that wick high, and then I would be targeting that 60K low and honestly be leaving some of it open to get down to $58,000. So that's kind of the way I'm planning to trade this. Now, guys, if you are going to be shorting near the bottom of a capitulation, you have to be very, very controlled and disciplined with your risk management. You have to calculate your position size and your stop loss before you enter that trade, because we could see actually an even bigger relief rally come in. And if we're looking at potential wave 4 targets, let me go ahead and zoom out to the hourly chart. For wave 4 targets, inside of our wave 3. So we have our bigger wave 3, and inside those wave 4 targets, and the bigger wave 3s is this guy right here, like a 1, 2, 3, and we could see a retrace in a 4 before seeing that 5. So what we need to do is we need to go from the highs of our wave 3 to the lows of your wave 3, and you want to look at, and let me just hide the stuff I just put on the chart so we can see. you want to put on your wave 4 targets, which are going to be between the 382 and the 0.5 Fibonacci. Now, I can see right now our 382 also aligns with that pitchfork band. It also aligns with that 1.236 trend-based Fibonacci extinction. Let me just pull this out here right there. You can see that 1.236 Fibonacci extinction is right there as well. So, and it's very close to your POC. 66.4 to about 66.8. And I am really going to be watching that area. If we do end up coming up there, hitting into that zone and starting to reject, I will be looking for the short. And right away, you're going to try to have to enter that pretty quickly because it could keep going up to the 0.5. It could maybe, as long as it doesn't hit the golden pocket, pulled from the highs of 3 to the lows of 3, then we could say it's still a fourth wave corrective move. But it's very dangerous to long or to short at the bottom of a capitulation. So if we're going to be doing this, then you have to make sure you're using that proper discipline. You want to see proper confirmation. So on lower time frames, maybe on the 1 hour, 30 minute, 15 minute, as we're coming up into that resistance zone, we want to see some bear divs. Say maybe we break out of here, break out of the triangle, see a fake out of the triangle, come back down, sweep some internal lows, and then we kind of see another move up and get a larger kind of complex correction in here that lasts a few days. But as we're coming up to this area of resistance, we want to see bear divs between the highs. So between this high, and this high, we want to see some bear divs coming in on the chart there as we're making that move up there. And if we have those confirmations, and then also money flow on the higher time frames is still obviously going to be draining out of the chart, that would give us our opportunity to break, to take that short position to the downside. Okay, let's see here. What am I doing? There we go. Mr. Rekachun, much love to you, man. Thank you, Pitchfork Guru. Man, I love these pitchforks. They work so well. Guys, the pitchforks have guided me through the entire bull market, in the last bull market, and this bear market so far. It's been great. I mean, pitchforks really do work well. Peter, much love to you. It's starting to itch to buy spot. Yes, now, I will tell you guys this right now, and this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor, and I do not give financial advice, but my personal plan to buy some Bitcoin on spot, I have a limit order already sitting at $57,900, right around there. I'm not going to give you guys the exact number, but right around 57.9, I do have a limit order waiting to buy some spot Bitcoin. And I have ladders of limit orders all the way down to 56,000, you know, because we have a couple daily levels in there. If we look at this box of support below us, we do have some daily levels that are kind of in that zone. We do have that naked monthly point of control, which I think is the most important at 57,889, or really 890, let's say. And then your anchored VWAP is there as well, that anchored VWAP. So I have some limit buy orders there. And guys, some of us here, like Machi HK, welcome in, Machi, thinks that we could be going down much lower. And I do think that is a real potential, that we could go much lower. As far as the timing goes of the bear market, we're not quite to October yet. And putting in a low early in June wouldn't make really much sense as far as timing-wise goes. But I'm okay buying some Bitcoin here because it's going to be a long-term hold. It's going to be like a 2 to 4 year, 5 year hold. And for me personally, when we're 50% or more off of all-time highs, I can start to feel comfortable buying Bitcoin spot in the investment mindset where I'm willing to hold it in drawdown if I have to. And you can see right now, that's a 51% drop from the all-time high coming down to our current lows. If we come down to those 60K lows, it's more than a 50% drop to the downside. At those 60K lows, it was a 52%. And if we get down to about $57,900, that is, to me, acceptable at a 55% pretty much to start at least accumulating a little bit of spot for long-term investment thesis. I know that a very common thing that Ray Dalio and Warren Buffett do in these long-term investors, that have made their life's legacy off of trading the markets. They talk about how when the S&P 500 or the traditional markets are 20% off their all-time highs, that's when it is time for them to start accumulating that asset, whatever asset they're interested in. Well, with crypto, we know crypto is about twice as volatile as the stock market, as the traditional markets, and maybe even 3 times as volatile, right? So for me, instead of doing 20%, I'm looking at doing 40, 50% when Bitcoin is 40, 50% off its all-time highs. That's when I'm going to start learning, getting to accumulate. And that's my plan, guys. And so I do think even if 58K is not going to be the macro low, maybe we're going to come down here. And I actually heard Ben Cowan talking about this yesterday. Coming down and seeing a decent bottom in June, maybe a kind of medium time frame bottom in June, where then we could see a bigger rise, maybe even up to $70,000-$80,000, not 80, I wouldn't say 80, but $67,000-$70,000, and then we could see that move and finally break this sucker down. But I would at least expect that we're going to get some sort of reaction from this zone of support here. Let me go in real quick here onto our order flow. We are creating some bullish CVD divergences right now. Now, it is kind of the open interest technically from the low. You're not seeing a rise in open interest, right? But you can see here on our order flow, we are making higher lows in the price action, and we are making lower lows in the CVD. So that right there is a bullish CVD divergence. Now, it is on really a decrease in open interest, so it's not near as tradable or near as powerful as a signal as bullish CVD absorption, but it does mean that we could see maybe this triangle break up and at least sweep these highs before ultimately seeing another move down. And yeah, I would really like to watch the back test of the value area low. Since we broke the value area low yesterday, and I'll go on to our daily time frame real quick, and let me just hide all of this local stuff in here. So since we broke our value area low yesterday, and in yesterday's Telegram, as before we broke the value area low down, and as we were breaking it down, I kept updating you guys in the Telegram, letting you guys know that, hey, we have a couple hours left to get back above the value area low. But if we cannot get back above the value area low and our daily candle closes below the value area low, we could see continuation. And look at, this is a pretty good example of that. On Tuesday, we had a big bearish engulfing candle, or a big bearish imbalance candle, breaking down below the POC, and we closed below the POC. It wasn't that far below, but we did close below the POC. Because we closed below the POC, the next day you try to wick above it, you fail, and then you see that big rejection, and you continue to bleed down. And our POC was so close to our value area low that now we're breaking and closing below the value area low. Meaning that, yes, we could see a little bit of maybe one green candle or two green candles in the next few days, or maybe over the weekend, from Thursday to next Monday, we could see a little bit of a relief rally. But closing the daily candle below the value area low is a very bearish sign. It's really our volume-based support that we wanted to hold within this range. And not seeing any reaction there is pretty bad. But also, if we close the weekly candle below the value area low, it's going to look super bad. Even if we come back up to backtest that value area low, we now have to have it in our mindset as a flip to resistance, and then that's when we could continue that kind of move to the downside. Okay, let me check the chat here. Todd, welcome in. It's good to see you in here. It will be our little secret. Okay, what are you saying, R Pink? Let's see the secrets. We're telling secrets in the chat. It's bear flagging for a short scalp. Yeah, that's kind of that triangle that I'm looking at right now, that symmetrical triangle, which here's another thing about this symmetrical triangle. We do see market makers see fake outs to take the liquidity of the high. So I'd be careful for that with the bearish, with the bullish CVD divergences we're seeing. But I mean, yeah, I think we have more time. We have more time left. And if we want to look at that wave 3 that has been building for the past couple of days, this was our initial wave 1 low, a wave 2 correction. And so if we go and take our trend-based Fibonacci extinction and we look at kind of that zone, we passed the 1.618. We're probably down close to the 2.618. Let's actually check that. I have not checked that yet. Yeah, you pretty much ended right at that 2.618 fib there. And remember, the third wave's common target is the 1.618, but you can often surpass that. So seeing the third wave end here, and then maybe we're going to get that move up to back test, you know, the areas I just talked about, the POC, the value area low, or your pitchfork band for a wave 4. And then you get that fifth and final wave to end the third wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe a double bottom in here, or maybe taking out those 60K lows. And then you get that corrective move in a wave 4, and then another 5. But the increase in volume, you know, when you see a dump and you see this increase in volume, that means it's getting stronger. The volume supporting the dump. The volume is supporting the dump. Also, if we look at, let's just go zoom out to our 4-hour chart on our order flow. Let's see if I can find this. There we go. Yeah, CVD is decreasing pretty rapidly inside of this dump here. And for the most part, for at least the, you know, a majority of that dump, you can see our open interest was increasing pretty steadily. So at least at the beginning of all this, the first half of all this, it was a bunch of brand new short positions that were opening, pushing the price down with a high amount of volume. That is, the bears are in control. And we're not really seeing anything different right now. We are seeing some positions that were closed out here. I'm sure a lot of people were taking profits. But yeah, bears are in control, guys. This looks like for sure. John Boomdonk Saint, welcome in, man. Good afternoon, Define. Turbo gonna bounce. Well, on Turbo, we looked at that big support level. Did we hit that yet? Yeah, we came down to our more local support level on Turbo, but I believe there is even a bigger one that we had. I mean, I would expect us to take out the lows. And remember, these are equal lows at the bottom of this range. You have your low here and you have your low here. That is double liquidity now to be taken. Pretty much the exact same low. 000876, 000875. So very, very double lows down there that I would be expecting to take out. Another thing on Turbo is, obviously, we got a small bounce from this box. You can see we got a small bounce from this box, but we rejected kind of from those prior lows. And let's pull this volume profile all the way now. You can see after bouncing from that box, we lost the value area low, back tested it. Here, let me get this a little bit wider, and I'm going to delete this green box now. But after bouncing from that box, which was the start of the value area low, you get a move up, you fall through the value area low, you bearishly backtest it the next day, and you reject. So now we're making new lows today. And we're so close to the bottom, the double bottom, I would expect to at least be coming down to take out that double bottom there. And honestly, it's probably not going to end with an SFP, or you might get a small SFP to get another back test of that area. But I think this is probably going to keep continuing down a bit here. Unfortunately, money flow just about to cross into the red on Market Cipher with today's red candle, a bearish engulfing candle from yesterday's candle. I do think it will finally cross into the red. Now, you are on NAMI seeing some bull divs and potential bull divs on money flow, but you can see very closely that money flow is now leaving again on the daily time frame. What I would be waiting for, John, I would not even be attempting to take along until we take out that double bottom. Now, if you get the SFP, remember, you pierce below, you rise above, you could look for the long position. You put your stop, obviously, below that wick low. Whatever that wick low is going to be, you would put your stop below that wick low. And for me personally, I would be looking for my first TP as a bearish backtest, again, of that value area low. And it would just depend on how low that wick was to make it worth it or not. You know, your TP2 could be up towards that POC of the range. And then that POC would probably be kind of near your, let's just throw it onto the bottom of that wick. Yeah, it would probably be near. Yeah, in between the 382 and the 0.5. Okay. We can look at that as that happens. We'll look at this more as that develops. But what I'll do here is I'll set an alert on that on those double bottom lows, and we can see if we get that SFP long. Crypto Wander 5813, much love to you, man. Good to see you in here. Nonsense, good to see you. It's sometimes right. Welcome in, and thank you for the support. Dillian Wadia. Yeah, how are we doing, people, guys? Are you guys being safe in this? Yesterday, I harped pretty strongly, and for me, I was not trying to catch the capitulation. I was not taking trades. I was not attempting anything, and I was letting you guys know yesterday. Sometimes the best trade is no trade. When you have that massive volatility like that happening, and it's a straight dagger to the downside, straight drop. Sometimes it's best not to try to catch the trade and to wait for a bit of a range to form, wait for a bit consolidation, a bit of a slowdown and reset in the markets. And, it's always great to have that screenshot of catching the absolute low or catching the absolute high. But honestly, trading is about your risk to reward ratio, and it's about your position size, right? Your stop loss and your position size. So I could have tried to catch the absolute low, and I could have said, oh, yes, I got in at 61.2, 61.3, and I'm going to put that screenshot of showing the absolute low. Or we could be more safe, and we could wait for a bit of a range to form. We could wait maybe for that corrective move. And as you come down and you SFP the 60K lows, and let me just throw, I believe I have that on the chart. Those were those 63 and 62.5. Nothing happened there, guys. Let me just throw a trend line on, there we go. That is our SFP there. So instead of trying to be a hero and knife catch this, we could wait for a better setup, like a swing failure pattern. You kind of know your risk because you're putting as soon as you reclaim it, you're putting your stop below the wick so you can calculate your risk better. And it generally tends to be a pretty good risk to reward ratio. Or what we can do is we can wait for a bit of a range to form, right? We can let's say that this is going to be a bottoming reversal range where you have kind of like a left shoulder here. You get your break in market structure by breaking out these highs, and then you come down and you take out the low, and then you come up and you kind of range in here, and then you see kind of that left shoulder, head, right shoulder. That's a bottoming reversal pattern. We can start to get in on these lows in here, and we can start to look for that potential long stop. Could go below the main low, or you could put the stop, you could get in a bit on here and put the stop below that guy in there. But sometimes it's better to wait for a bit of confirmation is all I'm trying to say there. All right. Get rid of that. Little Rich 69, much love to you. Bigger on the yearly. Okay, you think we're gonna go yeah, bigger on the yearly. Okay, not quicker. I gotta make that. I gotta go onto the yearly chart and make that squiggle, huh? Up to 2 million. All right. Yeah, short your farm, hodl till zero. ZMX, welcome in. Ryan Henson, welcome in. Good afternoon to you. All right, let me scroll down to the bottom of the chat. I am drowning in profit. Sin help, Divine Hood. Machi HK, man, you have been killing it this entire bear market. I remember towards the beginning of this bear market, me and you especially, there was a lot of people that were really bullish up at those $120,000 highs. And we were warning people back then too. So it's good to see you doing so well, Machi HK. It's awesome. And by the way, I still am paying attention, Machi, to we talked about this on Tuesday, I believe. On Tuesday, we went over your WXY correction, the bigger WXY correction, I think. So where was that? Maybe it was on the index chart here. Looking at that bigger WXY, guys, where we're seeing this as a W, this as an X, and maybe all of this is going to be a Y, and we're going to see a move down, pretty aggressively down, potentially even into the mid 30s. So, but what I would say here with that WXY correction is even if this is going to be the end of the Y, like in the Y wave, this is going to be the first leg down, and then you get that move up to golden pocket, and then another move down. I mean, this is still a good swing long, right? Like, just like if you're saying that this in here, let me grab our WXY. This is the W, this is the X, and then our Y, wherever it's going to come down to, right? 1 to 1 or whatever. This corrective move in here, if you long 60K and took profit at 82, that was still a really good swing long trade. Or if you longed 66, 65 and took profit at 82, that was still a really good swing long trade. So inside your Y wave, you're looking for a 3-wave corrective move. This long is still a nice long opportunity. 2 billion. Okay, let's do 2 billion. If it goes to if Bitcoin goes to 2 billion, I think the world is massively in trouble. All right. We can look at Ondo. We'll look at some of the altcoins. And guys, man, I wish I would have taken that short on Near. I took profit on Near yesterday at 308 exactly because it was the back test of our previous range value area high into a weekly. And I took profit exactly at that high at 308. But I was going to short it. And I was like, you know what? So I'm thinking the third wave ended there, and maybe we're going to get a pullback in a 4. And remember, your higher degree 4 often retraces to your lower degree 4. So if this is our third wave in here, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, our third wave looks like it's done with. And then our higher degree wave 4 pullback could pull back to the termination point of your lower degree wave 4, which would be around that 221 low and maybe even a little bit lower to like 208. Where we have a naked daily point of control. But yeah, I'm looking for that, that would have been a nice short to get into at that 308 level. But I still think Near overall, guys, we're still looking on the higher time frame, on the daily time frame impulse. We're looking for a pullback here, but we're still looking for eventual new highs on this thing. And Near is holding up so much better than Bitcoin. Say in a few days, Bitcoin's coming down to $58,000 or maybe, next week, sometimes mid to end next week, and Near is coming down into this area. Bitcoin's going to get a relief rally. If Bitcoin's going to get a relief rally, I know Near is going to see a big pop as well. And that's when we can get that move up into that 360-ish area, 355 to like 390-ish, but 364, 355, this area in here, which would be really nice. You have these range highs from your previous major range at that 364 area, right where your 618 golden pocket is. Now, I am not in any more, I'm not in any shorts on Near. And honestly, for me right now, it's a little bit too late to take any shorts on Near. But I would like to see if we get that larger kind of double bottom here of these lows, and this is the bounce from our previous range value area low. I'm going to be looking for the SFP of the lows. So we can actually set an alert on that line. We'll set an alert there at 221 pretty much exactly. And if we get that SFP long, I would look for that long position. At the same time, I'm also going to set an alert on this naked daily here because at 208, because that naked daily is another area where we could look for a potential long opportunity. Okay, let me scroll up in the chat. I know I missed a lot of this. Zcash, nice dump. Yes, Zcash is seeing a nice dump. We'll go through some of the altcoins. Let me scroll up and look at the chat real quick. Yeshwant, much love to you. Thank you for tuning in from India. Chichan, much love to you as well. I think the bottom of the bear market is in finally. Chichan, I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with that. I think it could be close to being in, but I have to say that just based off the Elliott waves alone, it doesn't look like it. How the devil are you? I'm doing good, Hagamix. Welcome in, man. Yeah, I wish I would have held on to that 82K short more. For weeks, I should really listen to myself more because for weeks I was telling you guys that I really am looking for that giant swing short from 82K to take out the 60K lows. And I was prioritizing how important of a resistance this was up here to hold a swing short to take out 60K and to come all the way down to 48 or to 58K. We had this box up here, this box that said very important resistance for a reason, right? Very key resistance between 82 and $82,500. And it was the perfect short opportunity. We saw the trap play out just like it was supposed to. And unfortunately, I closed most of it above 74K or around 74K because I thought we were going to get a bigger move up, and then I was going to, compound and see something like that. But it is what it is. Profit's still profit. So, Yeah, guys, please do like the stream. Please do share the stream and, comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I do want to take a second real quick before we go into the altcoins. We will go into a lot of these altcoins. So post the altcoins in the chat, guys. And if you posted your altcoin already, why don't you guys post it again in the chat so I don't have to spend a bunch of time scrolling? Just post the altcoins right now. And I'll take a second to shout out the partners of the channel, and then we'll go into some of these altcoins, and I'll answer these couple. Tierras Bull Hostile target for swing long is 71K. Well, I would say first it's 66.8K is going to be, or from the swing long from 58. From 58K, I think we might be able to make new all-time highs. But let's just say, at least we'll go into that in just a second. So, guys, the main partner of the channel is BYDFI. They are a VPN and KYC and VPN and KYC free exchange. All you need is an email and a password to sign up. If you do sign up using my affiliate link in the description below, you can get a minimum of 20% discounts on your trading fees, and you can actually earn up to 40% discounts if you deposit some large amounts into the exchange. They're offering up to $8,100 in futures trading bonuses, depending on the amount of volume you move within those USDT futures markets. So not just on Bitcoin, but you can trade the altcoins and have that trading volume be accounted towards that. You can earn up to $8,100 extra dollars and paid out in real Bitcoin or real USDT. They're also offering some of the best initial deposit bonuses in the entire industry. For instance, if you deposit $100, you can get a 50% deposit bonus. Most places will only give you a $20 bonus, not a $50 bonus. They're giving 20% deposit bonuses up to a $1,000 deposit, and they're giving 10% deposit bonuses up to a $20,000 deposit, which is double what most exchanges do. So if you deposit $20,000, you can supercharge your deposit with an extra $2,000. You do need to KYC level 1 in order to qualify for those bonuses, but they are available. I've also partnered with BYDFI to create a Telegram community where I keep you guys updated. Yesterday, while the dump was occurring, I said in the video that I posted just before, maybe we get the SFP from 63 and 62.5 at the same time. But as soon as we started to break through those, I said, no long for me, guys. I am not attempting this SFP long. I also came in and let you guys know I am just not looking for the trades. I said a lot of alerts are going off on these altcoins that we set alerts on during the live streams. But with the capitulation that was happening, I wasn't interested in taking some of those longs. And good thing, because the markets kept dumping through a lot of those local support levels because it was major capitulation. So I try to keep you guys as updated as best I can in that Telegram. The Telegram community is a private community, but it is free. All you need to do to join the Telegram is join BYDFI using my affiliate link and deposit a minimum deposit of $100 or more. You can deposit more if you want to get some of the bigger rewards. Once you've signed up and deposited the minimum amount, you click the Telegram link in the description of this video. And in that Telegram verify channel, you type in /verify in your BYDFI user ID, and then it will automatically put you into the main Telegram channel. I also have another non-KYC exchange partner. It's Blowfin. Blowfin is offering VIP 1 for 30 days. They're offering, if you deposit $5, you can get a $10 bonus. Oops, let's see here. Get that over. There we go. You deposit $5, you get a $10 voucher, and then you can see they're giving out some pretty good net deposit bonuses up to, if you deposit $10,000, you can get a $1,000 futures bonus. I have 2 KYC exchanges. They're Bybit and MEXC. And then lastly, I have NAMI trading, which is this momentum and money flow indicator you see at the bottom of your screen here. And I use this for my entry and exit confirmations on my trades, guys. And the thing is with NAMI is it helps get me into good trades. The other day, while we were dropping through 68.8, this area here, and remember the POC was back there at the time, 68.8. We were coming to that very important support level. It was our golden pocket. It was the pitchfork band. It was our point of control of the range. But as we were coming down into that level, we did not see 4-hour bull divs. If we look right here, you can see we did not see 4-hour bull divs on the chart at the time, right? There was no 4-hour bull divs on the chart, no even regional 4-hour bull divs. If we go to the 2-hour, we weren't at the time here seeing the bull divs. Now we are seeing some bull divs, but and it kept me out of the trade at 68.8. Now I did go against my better judgment and I tried to long 67.9 and I got stopped out. But at the time, I didn't take that trade, even though it was a really good support level, because I didn't have confirmation. And since I've been using NAMI for confirmations on my trades, my profit margins have increased. And it also helps me know when to get out of a trade. If I'm starting to see bear divs in a long position, I'll start to exit out of that trade. So if you guys are interested, I partnered with NAMI to get you guys 50% off. All you have to do is click the affiliate link in the description, or looks like our Pink posted it in the chat. And thank you, our Pink, for always posting those. And when you're checking out on the website, type in Divine50 in the discount code promotion box, and you guys can get 50% off that lifetime subscription to NAMI. All right, let me get a drink of water, and then we'll go back into the chat, and we'll look at some of those. All right. You shared the hype short idea in the Telegram. Awesome, Machi HK. Well, thank you for that. We rejected straight from the top of that pitchfork band, but we're losing this upper volume profile in here. You can see we're losing the value area low with a big drop. And actually what's happening right now is we're flipping the pitchfork midline into resistance here. That's not a good sign to see that flip today into resistance. And also rejecting from the VWAP. Remember, the VWAP on an intraday trade will act as resistance in a so in a downtrend. If you're downtrending and you kind of go far away from the VWAP, you can see that 3-wave corrective move up to the VWAP. That would have been actually a super nice short there. And now we're expecting to take out the lows. So if you're in that short, I would say, you know, I would be looking to take it down to take out those lows. But you can also see, oh, and this is actually a logarithmic channel, I believe. Let me zoom out here. No. Okay. We have our pitchfork here. And then I have a channel that was a base channel here, or from this area. So we broke out of this channel. This was that exhaustive channel. We broke out. We tried to bounce from it. We made a pretty much a lower high, semi-equal lower high. And then we fell back inside, and we're coming down to the midline of the channel. That's probably going to be around, let's take it from the bottom of the channel to the highs. Yeah, around your 382. So guys, the 382 to the 0.5 acts as strong support, and 382 especially acts as strong support in a strong trend. Well, I would say this has been a pretty strong trend so far. And even looking at this has been a pretty strong trend so far. So, you know, we might be able to bounce from there. I'm actually looking to take out the lows again. And let's see here. Yeah, and overall on hype though, on the daily time frame, zooming out to the daily time frame, we are looking at that bigger impulse still not being completed yet. So from the lows here, we have that 5-wave impulse up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe a contracting diagonal with an extended 5th wave. This is that running flat correction in here, running flat correction. And then this has been our 3rd wave in here. Now, our 3rd wave could have continued up to 90K, not 90K, $90, but it does look like it might be done. So I want to zoom in, and we want to pay attention to this impulsive structure here. You can see volume is increasing drastically on the push up. So that is nice to see. That makes it more likely to be a 3rd wave. But let's zoom into the 4-hour, and let's go from that low. You can see that we pretty much do have a finished 1, 2. This is probably all a flat in a 4. You got your 3. This is a flat in a 4, and this is your 5. So that's done probably, and we're now looking for a corrective move. And remember, the higher degree wave 4 often corrects to like a lower degree wave 4 termination, which would be around $54 to $55. So if we might be able to get a really nice long from $55 to break the highs on the daily time frame. And this move down could take a week or 2 weeks. Actually, it could take quite a while. Actually, it could take let's just do a rough estimate. It could take a month of a move down to 55 over the next month, and then we could see a move up to break new highs after that. But hype, fundamentally, hype is pretty bullish, and it's an asset that I want to accumulate more of on spot. because their revenue model is so good. But let's go in lower time frames. Let's go to the 2 hour. Yeah, and I would say you had a prior range in here. The value area high of that range is at $62. That's probably going to be where your golden pocket of this last move up was. Golden pocket. Actually, we'll bring it to the lows of this range here. Yeah, so golden pocket. So first support level, first kind of decent support level I'd be looking at is between 62.2 and 61.5. It's going to be the back test of this prior range value area high and your golden pocket pulled from the lows of that range to the highs. And then let's see if we have any naked daily points of controls in there. No, unfortunately, we don't have any, but we do have that naked daily that's right down around 55. So that would be the next big support level for hype, is kind of coming down to 55 as well. Naked dailies down there, and I'm sure that's going to be a naked weekly. No, but we do have, so see, this is where these confluences come in, guys. At our value area high in our golden pocket at 62, we have a naked weekly point of control. And then at our naked daily point of control in the bottom of the range, we have our next big support confluence, a daily level, a naked daily point of control. Let me make sure that's still a fresh daily. Yeah, fresh daily down there. You have your naked daily point of control down there, and you have liquidity from that prior range low. So prior range lows coming in at, where am I looking at here? There we go. 54 pretty much. So from 55 to 54, we have kind of a zone of support there. And then our first big zone of support, though, is going to be from 62.2 to 61.5. Naked weekly point of control, back test of the value area high. And your golden pocket. The big thing with hype I've seen is it likes to do these running flat corrections. So, you know, back down here, we had that kind of running flat correction in here. A wave, a B, and then your C wave does not take out the lows of A. We saw it in here, you know, A wave, B, your C wave does not take out the lows of A. And in this one, it looks like this could be a flat still because you did hit the 0.9 Fibonacci. Let me go in there into this little area. We can look at this range. And actually, that's a three-way move down. So that's a three-way move down. It almost looks like a three-way move up. So this could be a larger W, X, and then we're going to see some sort of Y in here. And then we could see continuation. So yeah, I would like to see one more leg down, though, in this. So yeah, we can set an alert. I'm going to set an alert right now on that naked weekly point of control. And if we start to bounce from that naked weekly with some local bull divs, we'll look for long. We'll look for a long if there's divs there. And then the next level, we can set an alert on that naked daily point of control there. And same thing, look for a long if divs there. Okay, let me scroll back up. We'll look at some of this chat. We need him to look at BNB. Yeah, BNB, actually BNB is one that I am trying to accumulate more of spot on, because BNB, when it runs, it's one of the few coins that made new all-time highs, not just barely. Like ETH made a new all-time high, but it was like an SFP of the all-time high. Solana made an all-time high, but it was not very big of an all-time high. BNB is one of those that went to, you know, way over, just like Bitcoin did. All right. So we'll do Ondo, we'll do Pepe, we'll do ZEC, Magna, Optimism. What do you think about 43K bounce? Well, I do think we could make it down to 43, but the big thing is we play level to level as traders, right? And so I'm not considering 43 until we lose this support zone. But even in this support zone, we have a weekly just below it as well, a pretty key weekly at like 55.8, I believe it was. Yeah, 55.9, let's say. So this zone is a very strong zone of confluence. And then we have liquidity, very, very key liquidity at 49K. And why am I paying attention to that? So let me go to the index chart and I will show you guys on the index chart. I have been following a big channel. Let me hide some of this stuff in here so we can clean this up. That. So if you look at this big channel on the daily time frame or even the weekly, let's go to like the 3-day time frame. I pulled this channel from the 65K high to the 69K high down to the 15.5K lows. Now you can see, even though this channel was pulled from highs and lows that were made after this summer price action in summer of 2021, it is still respected because trading is based off of market psychology. And you can see the prior bull market all-time high back in December of 2017 came up to that channel midline because it's based off human psychology. We also flipped it after the BlackRock listing. We reject from golden pocket. We flipped that midline to support. And then of course you work your way up to the top where you see distribution up here. But the midline of that channel is coming in around those lows, right? Yes, you may maybe wick a little bit past it, but seeing an SFP, that could be the bear market bottom as well, an SFP of those lows. And everyone would be looking, everyone in the world, all these pattern traders would be looking at like a left shoulder head, and then maybe we come down here and see that kind of right shoulder in here, you know, maybe something like this, and then you get kind of that right shoulder structure in here. Everyone's going to be looking for the breakdown of a head and shoulders, but we would be looking at it a little bit differently. We'd be looking at it as a liquidity grab and maybe even starting to form an accumulation range in here to see a push back up. Now, could it be a head and shoulders that breaks down and Bitcoin breaks all the way down to like 30K? Sure, it could, but that's not what I would be expecting. All right, ZEC. Let's go to ZEC real quick. ZEC, USD. This is not the right chart. Okay, so for ZEC, we were looking at those highs potentially as major highs, right? At $678-ish, because we were looking at the impulse from this low at 300. And by the way, I longed near the lows of this impulse. I think it was like 316 or 309. I can't remember what my initial entry was. But we were looking at the wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and a wave 5. Your wave 4 came right down to the 382 fib. Your wave 5 came right up to the wave 5 target between the 1.236 and the 1.618. So after this 5-wave impulse completes, in a aggressive move down, you see a move down to the golden pocket pulled from that entire impulse. So we would look at golden pocket. We would have to set this on log scale, and we could be looking for a move all the way back down to $400, guys. $400 is going to be your previous highs. You can see your previous highs in there. But also, if we're seeing this kind of bigger zigzag correction come in, we could see a move all the way down to 400 where the bottom of the pitchfork is. And right now we're kind of messing around with that pitchfork band. And it does look like I hate to say this if you're a bull on ZEC, because I did want to come higher on ZEC, but first off, we're at the value area low of the range right now. But if you look at this, this does look like a pretty dang good topping reversal pattern distribution, a model 2 distribution. Tap 1, tap 2, tap 3. Are we about to break this down to 400? Or you could say an inverse head and shoulder, right? An inverse head and shoulder is a topping reversal pattern. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, break this down, come down to 400. The big thing I'm going to be watching for though, is maybe this is going to be a flat in here. And if we SFP the range lows and start to pump with an impulse, we could make new highs. We could continue the bullish momentum. We did have bear divs. You can see higher highs in the price action, lower highs in the momentum waves, lower highs in the momentum waves. Now we've confirmed a bearish trigger wave with a lower high. We also rejected, if we pull our, let me zoom in on this to the 4-hour. If we pull our Fibonacci golden pocket 786 zone, so we'll go from the highs to the lows, you can see our golden pocket 786 zone, we rejected from that 786. A lot of your main rejection was from golden pocket, but you saw a couple wicks up to reject from that 786. And after rejecting there, we're dumping pretty aggressively. So I would at this point, I would be expecting to take out your range lows if you lose the value area low. So let's pull that volume profile again. You're at the value area low. If we start to close candles, I would say a 4-hour candle, if we start to close 4-hour candles below the value area low, in my opinion, we are going to come down to take out the range lows. I'm actually going to set an alert on these range lows right now because we could see the SFP long from there. And if we get that SFP long, I will let you guys know. And I want to take it if we get it. Like, I'm going to try to take it if and only if we get the SFP long. Now, on the other hand, we could be looking at, you know, this was your wave 4, this was your wave 5. Maybe this was a flat in here. And so this has to be the end of your 5. This is not a new high. So we would have to say this could be a 1, 2, or sorry, 1, 2. What I was initially thinking of this as a third wave, but with this move up, you hit golden pocket. You can't say that. So in a really bearish case scenario, you would say this is a 1, 2, or yeah, sorry, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then you're going to get a big 3, and then you maybe get some 4, 5s, 4, 5s. But there is a problem with that as well. Look at your primary 1 and your primary 2 are much smaller in time and price than your secondary 1 and your secondary 2. This is your primary 1. This is your secondary 1. Secondary 1 is larger in time and price. So it reduces the possibilities. It's not a hard invalidation, but it reduces the possibilities of a double 1-2 impulse to the downside. Another thing we could be looking at is a larger 3-wave move in an A wave or a W. You kind of get that 3-wave move here. And I know there's a lot of choppy overlap in this, but this definitely looks, with all the choppy overlap, this looks like a corrective structure. And then maybe we get some sort of 3-wave move down like this and take out those lows, or even potentially come down to 400. See a larger WXY complex correction before continuing. I don't like the daily bull divs or bear divs that we were seeing. Do we see anything right now to tell us to look for a long from the value area low? We don't see 4-hour bull divs. Money flow still aggressively leaving on both of our oscillators. If we go to the 2-hour chart, at the 2-hour chart here, we do NAMI is starting to develop some bull divs, but your money flow is also in the red. Market cipher, not money flow still leaving. Yes, your momentum wave is bottomed out, but you know, we might get a small bounce from the bottom of the pitchfork to backtest the POC and the high of the pitchfork. By the way, that's going to be our local resistance now. Our local resistance is going to be 553, guys, because and just like yesterday, I talked about bounce, reject. We rejected after bouncing from the value area low. We pushed up to backtest the POC. We rejected. So now we expect to take out the low here at 510. But if after taking out the low at 510, say we SFP this internal low and maybe the low from yesterday, I would say actually the low from yesterday. Let's say we SFP the low from yesterday into the bottom of the pitchfork band at like 504. You might be able to get a nice little scalp long to bring up to 553. And then this might break down and start, you know, grabbing liquidity or breaking down aggressively. So we can do this. Let's do this actually. We'll do, because I do like this pitchfork band at the bottom here. So I will set an alert on this low at 510 and we'll look for the SFP long. So to 553. So I would be playing it as a scalp, and I would absolutely set a TP, a limit TP, probably 75% of the position to take out at 553. And that's where I would be looking to flip a short as well. You still, and then again, you still have your golden pocket is at the value area high. Now we've already hit into it a bunch, but that is still going to be a resistance, and your 786 we've already hit into. Honestly, I would want to see continuation down first before we break above 553. I would want to see continuation down. Yeah, and let's go to our 1 hour You are starting to develop some bull divs, but they're not confirmed yet, and money flow looks a little bit bearish here. So in my opinion, we are going to continue this dump to the downside. We're trying to hold value area low as support, but it's not really doing a good job. Yeah, we do have some bull divs down here, though. So yeah, let's see if we can get an SFP of 510 for a scalp long opportunity. If we can get that SFP of 510, I would potentially be interested in a scalp. Let's go to next, Ondo. Ondo's actually consolidating pretty nicely in a triangle on the daily time frame. So let me hide this volume profile. You can see here kind of, and remember, a triangle is a continuation consolidation pattern. We could do something like this and then something like this, right? Kind of this triangle that's forming in here. But the very bearish scenario is this could be a double 1-2, like a 1-2, 1-2, and that's that. You know, your primary 1 and your primary 2 are bigger than your secondary 1 and your secondary 2, and then we could break this down into 3, and then we could see some 4-5s coming in. Now, if we start to break this triangle down, I mean, we could also always watch for the liquidity grab of the lows and the fake out. But honestly, if it starts to break down aggressively, I would be expecting to revisit some of the points of controls within this range. So we would have to pull our volume profile of this lower. And this, by the way, is a perfect example of accumulation before expansion. You can see accumulation in here, expansion. And yeah, the highs of the range. This is a way old daily, so I got to get rid of that. Unfortunately, though, the big thing that we have to be worried about, and we talked about this, is Mark Dutch is in here. I was talking about on the weekly time frame, and this would support this being a double 1-2 impulse to the downside, guys. If this is a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and we get a big 3, and then we start doing some 4-5s, 4-5s. The reason why I'm looking for potentially new lows below 19.5 cents is because on the weekly time frame, and we've covered this over the past 2 weeks. If you guys have been on the live streams with me over the past 2 weeks, me and Mark was the one who put me onto this. Mark Dutch, thank you for that. But on the weekly time frame, you can see a very clear potential impulsive structure. Wave 1, kind of that flat in a wave 2, wave 3. Well, where does your wave 4 come up to? It comes up to the 3.8, between the 382 and the 0.5 Fibonacci. By the way, I shorted that. I set a limit short exactly on the 0.5 Fibonacci. How did we come up to the 0.5? Was it a 5-wave move or was it a 3-wave move? Well, it looks like a pretty clear 3-wave move right now. 1, 2, 3. Came up to that 0.5 inside your C wave. By the way, guys, in an ABC. So we could be looking at this move up that we've seen as an A, B, C. And in the C wave, you're looking for an aggressive impulse. We got an aggressive impulse in that C wave. You rejected right from your weekly wave 4 target. So the bearish scenario is on the weekly time frame. We spend some time coming down in a wave 5 and we complete this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's your bearish scenario. And unfortunately, like I'm not so sure that the bullish scenario is going to play out here, guys. Like, it does look like we could see an impulse down. I will turn off our waves there. So that's your bearish case scenarios, that we're looking for that big move down to sub 19.5 cents, or like really sub this low, but it's pretty much at 19.5 cents as well. In the bullish case scenario, we're still in a wave 4 correction, right? We could, and there is a problem with this though. The reason why I'm not looking at this so much as a wave 1, a triangle, and a wave 2, a big wave 3 impulse, a wave 4 triangle, and then a wave 5 up to golden pocket, is because of our very first move up. And let me show you guys that. I've talked about this prior on the channel, so I'm sorry if this is review, but this very first move up is a 3-wave move. It's very clearly a 3-wave corrective move. And in an 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you need that very first move to be a 5-wave impulse or some sort of motive wave. And we do not see that here. We do not see this as a motive wave. So is this a larger, A, B, C, or WXY, right? A three-wave move in a W, you get your triangle and an X, and then you get your big blast up in a Y, and then your Y is an A, B, C, right? Inside the Y. But this could be a larger WXY, so actually I shouldn't have that as an ABC. That should be a WXY. And then you would be looking for impulsive moves to the downside. Local TA, local TA. I would play the range until it breaks. Now my range, I have to say my macro time frame bias is going to be to take out 19.6K lows. But I still would like to look for longs here. So we can counter trend trade our own bias just based off technicals, right? And just knowing to be aggressive with your take profits. The trend is still up. You are making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. So far, all of this could be a higher low before making a higher high. So I'm still going to be prioritizing looking for longs, even though I'm on a weekly time frame bearish that we're going to take out these. You trade against your own biases. That way, no matter what happens, you're always right and you're always making money. It doesn't matter about being right or wrong. It matters about taking the trades that matter, right? Trades that will play out. You can see we rejected yesterday from the value area high. We came down to the value area low. We are seeing a nice little bounce from the value area low. But this here looks like a three-wave move, right? And in a triangle, you do get those three-wave moves in a triangle. And actually, I might want to adjust this triangle. Let me see this here. If we look at pulling this down to those wick highs, yeah, that's probably what it is. This is a wick above, but you can see most of the highs are rejecting there. So I would say this is the triangle that we're forming here. And in a triangle, you actually do look for largely three-wave moves within the triangle, right? Three-wave moves. In an A, B, C, D, E, D, and then we might get something like this to come down. Let's look at our local lower high golden pocket. And we'll make sure that's just a normal golden pocket. And then I want to pull that volume profile again. Okay, we don't really have much confluence there. Let's see if we have a naked daily up there. No, there's no naked dailies, unfortunately. We do have a naked daily point of control just below those lows from last weekend. Okay, that's going to be important, guys. Weekend lows and weekend highs often get taken out. We have a naked daily point of control at 34,117, right below that low from last weekend. So that would be a potential area where I'd be interested in taking a scalp long from the low. And I would only take it if you get the SFP, right? You would have to get the SFP because it's right on top of that naked daily. Let's add an alert there. SFP long. If we get an SFP long from 34.1, I would look for a potential long position. This low right here. Otherwise, we're going to be really looking at a more aggressive move down. And let me make sure this naked weekly is still fresh. I believe it is. Yeah, we have a naked weekly down there at 31.7. And then our next naked weekly is all the way down at 26. And what we could do here is pull a macro golden pocket retracement from the lows to the highs of this entire push up that we've seen. We'll make that on log scale. Yeah, and you're going to have your macro golden pocket pretty much right where that naked weekly was. Let me go ahead and turn that back on for you guys. You can see that naked weekly is right near that golden pocket. So I would say this is a nice support level in here. And your range point of control from this range is also going to be in that area. Yeah, value area high and point of control. So very nice zone in here at 27.5 to about 26.5 cents. That could be a decent long position. I wouldn't be saying a swing long though. I would say some sort of scalp to make, or day trade to make a lower high. Let's see, did we have bear divs at all? No. What's good about Ondo is money flow is still curving up on Market Cipher, and because this wasn't a higher high, you don't have bear divs here. So overall, it doesn't look the worst. Nami is quicker, and you can see, especially if today's candle closes as a bearish engulfing candle, our money flow is already crossing into the red, but it will probably continue to bleed into the red, and Market Cipher will probably roll over. Let's see if we have any low time frame bull divs potentially. It could be nice. So if we get that SFP of 34, like say we come down here and we get that SFP of 34, you could be developing some really nice bull divs because you would be making lower lows there. Locally, Nami is not showing any bull divs on the 2 hour, on the 1. Yeah, no bull divs on the 1 hour, and you printed a hidden bear div earlier today on this rejection. So I would say it's likely that Ondo continues dumping down to at least 31 cents. Not financial advice, obviously, not a financial advisor. And we might be able to do something like this, though, first. Come up and actually hit that golden pocket. You'd want to see a 3-wave corrective move in here to reject from that golden pocket. Yeah, and I honestly, you do have a fair value gap. The golden pocket would be in the middle of a fair value gap, so I don't like that so much. Well, actually, it's not. Never mind, because this candle body. I'm sorry, not a fair value gap, but you do have an imbalance in here, a little bit of an imbalance in here. So, possibly look for shorts around 40 cents. There we go. I'll set an alert at 40 cents. If that goes off, I'll let you guys know in the Telegram. Okay, we did ZEC, we did Ondo. We will do Optimism. I'm going to go quicker through some of these guys because it has taken a little bit long. I haven't checked Optimism in quite a while, I believe. Optimism is losing our channel, though. We had this descending channel from after the October crash. Let me get rid of all this local. So we were in this descending channel, rejected from a fake break out of the channel. We impulse down here. I mean, it's not looking very bullish because we had also, this was kind of a sideways range in here. You break down from the sideways range and we're forming a new sideways range, and you attempted to break out of that range, but you rejected from a trend midline, and now we're losing it. We back tested it and we're still rejecting. So we tried to get back in the channel. We came to the midline, we rejected, we lost the channel again. We tried to get back inside the channel, we're rejecting. So we're coming down. I would honestly be looking at, just for now, playing this lower range in here. It does look like it could be an accumulation range, but once again, you kind of have your tap 1 down here. You don't have a tap 2 yet. You need a lower low for accumulation, for proper accumulation. So we can pull our volume profile of this range. Yeah, and we're today, I mean, that wick that we're seeing today is a pretty big wick, but so far the candle body on the daily hasn't closed below the value area low. And we can also look at this golden pocket. Yeah, but you have already surpassed your 786. Let's see if we've hit in the 886 yet. And yes, you've hit in the 886. So in a larger downtrend, and we are in a larger downtrend for sure, if you have a retracement and then you're dumping and you hit the 886 of a larger downtrend, it makes it more likely that you're going to take out the low that 886 was pulled from. So I would be looking to take out the lows at pretty much 10 cents. Let's see if we can't find a bigger trend to look at. Oh man, I mean, quite honestly, this is just bearish as crap. It looks like we're in an impulse down, and honestly, it looks like a wave one here, and you can see even in that wave one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get your 3-wave corrective move in a wave 2, and all of this is probably the 3rd wave, and you're probably looking for multiple, like a 1. Here's a flat and a 2. Maybe all of this is the 3, and then this was a 4, and then you need a 5. So you need one more low within the larger 3rd wave on the weekly. We're looking at a weekly, just kind of like, what was that other one? Ondo. 1, 2, this is going to be 3. You're probably going to move up 4 and then a 5, something like that on this thing. So the next low that we make, though, the next low we make on the weekly and daily time frame below 10 cents could be a nice swing long position to bring up to your wave 4, lower degree wave 4, right? That means that would be the high at 18 cents or even a little higher. We would have to pull that 382 Fibonacci once we get the low made. But an example would be like you would go from the highs of wave 3 to wherever the lows are. And I'm just going to do like an SFP type area. And we would be looking at those wave 4 targets. We would put this on log. So yeah, you could even move all the way up to 33 cents after making a new low. We have to make a new low first. And honestly, we could probably, from that very start of this impulse down, from your wave 1 high to your wave 1 low to your wave 2 high, we're going to go with an original pitchfork because this is a steep trend here. So we'll go to our original pitchfork and we can look at some major pitchfork levels. So we'll go down to the daily time frame. It is being pretty nicely respected in here. You know, not the best respection, but you do form those ranges in and around pitchfork bands. And let's see where we're at here. Yeah, we're rejecting from the back test of the pitchfork band. So we might be able to see a move all the way down to the midline at pretty much 9 cents. 8.089 to like 0.88. That's where I would be looking potentially for a nice swing long opportunity. And that could also give you your tap 1 here, tap 2 there, and then maybe you get a move up, and then you kind of chop down, and you get that kind of tap 2, tap 3. You get that accumulation that forms. And then a breakout to 33 cents in a bigger wave 4 on the weekly. Magma USDT. I guess we'll go with MEXC. Travi Trades, is this the right one? Here at 44 cents, 45 cents. It's breaking out pretty nicely, actually. This was sort of a ascending triangle that you had. You have these semi-equalized, an ascending triangle that's breaking out, which an ascending triangle is a bullish structure, and you're breaking out of it with high volume. That's pretty nice to see. And you can count, yeah, you can count a 5-wave move, but there is a problem. Like a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, a wave 5. But I'm pretty sure your wave 4 hit your golden pocket. But in low liquidity altcoins, that might not be a hard invalidation. The hard invalidation is overlapping the highs of wave 1. Yeah, you hit your golden pocket. in your wave 4. So it lowers the probabilities, but it's not a hard invalidation. So if this was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then you got kind of a flat correction in here. You're continuing this impulse. You would want, this would be a wave 3. You'd want to see this continuing aggressively. I have no idea what this is. Money flow does look good on the daily. You do not have any daily bear divs here. Let's go to the 4-hour. Yeah, no daily bear divs, but if you take out the high again, then you could create some bear divs. At 46.65, you could create some bear divs on the 4-hour. Let's go to the 2-hour. Actually, yeah, you do have some bear divs, 2-hour and under, through 4-hour kind of could for NAMI. Yeah, this has some nice bear divs here. Actually, I want to set an alert on that high, and if we get an SFP of that high, I would potentially look for a short. So 46.65, guys, we might be able to get some sort of short if it's a confirmed SFP. If it's not a confirmed SFP, we don't take it. And what we would be looking at in that short, I would be playing it as a scalp because our larger bias is that this could be the start of a large wave 3 up. So if this is the start of a large wave 3 up, this could be some sort of flat in here. So you would short the SFP of the high, and you would want to take at least 50% profit when you take out this low. So it'd be something like this. You get above it, you put your wick to wherever the wick ends, and my TP1 would be those lows right there. And that's still a very nice scalp. And then you could even pull your targets. You would, pull your targets there. We'll look at that actually if that happens. But yeah, 4-hour and under is showing some bear divs. And there's not much history on this. Is this the right one? Let's see. Magma USD. Yeah, it looks like it's the right one, and it's not very old. So not too much we could do there. Essentially, you have two ranges, though. You have this kind of lower range in here, and then you were forming an upper range in here that you're breaking out of. So new levels of price discovery. With money flow being bullish on the daily time frame, if I take that SFP short, I'm really just going to be looking for it to come down just a little bit and then continuation. So I would also be looking for the long on that low here at 38.5. Potentially, right? All right, let me scroll down to the bottom. Sudeep, much love to you. Time Attack, much love to you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for modding. It's not looking optimistic. Yeah, optimistic definitely isn't looking optimistic. The quant or just go trade ES in Q and wait. Most things. Yeah, honestly, like the stock market is just making new all-time high after new all-time high. So like if you can play the traditional markets and wait for big crypto to bottom, but part of the fun of crypto is the volatility and catching the trades, catching that volatility. Yeah, take advantage of while we can. Shorting for this last move down. I am going to be taking advantage of that. Let's check Bitcoin really quickly here. How's it going? Yeah, we're just chopping, guys. We're just low time frame volatility chop. It's probably going to be a lower volatility day today because of what kind of happened with yesterday, that capitulation yesterday. A lot of traders got flushed out. I have Bonk swing long from the very bottom today. Okay, let's check Bonk, and I will check the other ones too, guys, so don't worry about that. We'll go through all of these altcoins. Bonk, USD. You're in a swing long from the bottom. Well, that's the back test of a channel, but where's this channel from? Okay, I see. So Bonk was in this very nice descending channel here. And actually, let me try something here. Let's pull it to this low. Yeah, you have a pretty nice channel structure here, but you You clearly lost this range. You can see this was a range. And actually, I like pulling it to like right here. You lost it, tried to get back inside. You couldn't, you failed, you made new lows. And then what I would be paying attention to right now on Bonk is this lower range in here. So we have this sideways range with an attempted breakout, but it failed. Yeah, and you're losing value area low. You've already taken out your range lows. Man, I mean, yeah, this thing might continue. If you're in a swing long from the lows, that I would keep that trade. Look at on the daily time frame. You have multiple drives of bull div on NAMI potentially. 1, 2, and the third one's not confirmed yet, and your money flow still looks bad. But if you're in a long from there, man, I would definitely be keeping that long going. But if you come up to, you have to now watch for this 000571 because that's the back test of the range value area low. We've lost it now. If you do something like this and reject, you're going to expect new lows. So in a swing long, if you start to reject from that 571 area, I would really consider taking some profit. Of course, not financial advice, but you know, that's how I would play that if I was in a long from here. It looks like right now you're also forming some sort of triangle in here on lower time frames. You can see the triangle forming. And this looks impulsive. Yeah, this could be some sort of flat in here but you didn't take out these highs, which is really bad. Running flat then. And then you'd be looking at a 1, 2. This is probably, you would want this to keep going to be a 3. So you'd want to break this triangle down and keep going down. Higher time frame, I will see if I can find a pitchfork. And I see a nice structure to make a pitchfork. So let's hide this upper range. We're going to go from pretty much the all-time high on this thing to those range lows that we had up to your lower high there. Now, this is a very aggressive trend. I think we could go with a modified skiff. Yeah, and let's see how it has been respected. So this is see pitchforks, man. Mr. Rekichan, pitchforks. Reject from the midline, you come down to the bottom, you reject from the bottom, you reject from the bottom of the band, reject from the bottom of the band, get to the top of the band. You tried to break out of the top of the band here. You couldn't. And now I would actually be looking to come a little bit lower. Even though we're at lows right now, we broke the range lows. I would actually be looking to come a little bit lower on this thing. Yeah, this pitchfork has been nicely respected. Let me just check one thing here. If our skiff is not going to work as nice. No, it's definitely the modified. All right, so coming down to about, let's see here, what is that? 0439 or 044, let's say. That's where I would be looking for potential bottoms forming. But you can see how it consolidates for a long time, and I would want to see something like this, where you have that initial hit into the bottom of the pitchfork, you consolidate for a little bit, and then maybe a little bit more consolidation. So something like, if we could take this and bring this in here, I would want to see something like this towards the bottom of the pitchfork. And then you could look for longs once you start to build some local bull divs. All right. But yeah, your swing long targets, man, you have to play this range until you break it, right? You have to play that range until you break it. So, and you could pull your golden pocket if it's the current low is in now. Yeah, golden pocket's going to be at value area high. So, and the top of the pitchfork band. That would be a definite position where I would consider taking a massive profit if I was trading that. And of course, that's not financial advice, but that zone between 0655 and 0675. I bet you even have a naked daily or a naked weekly. Yeah, naked weekly's up there as well. And then your POC is going to be at the bottom of the pitchfork band with a naked daily. So very nice, actually very nice technical levels on this thing. Very nice technical levels. Yeah, since you're losing it, I would expect this is probably going to keep continuing down to hit the bottom of the pitchfork. But you might be able to see a move up to kind of hit that POC and that naked daily POC in the bottom of the pitchfork. Now, if you reject there, you would expect to come back down. But if you can get above it, you're going to be looking for a move up to value area high golden pocket naked weekly. And that might be a bit quicker. Maybe you're going to do this and then come all the way up here. But I highly doubt it's going to be a V shape like that with the way money flow looks. BNB, yes. Actually, let's just do this. Man, I was really hoping BNB would come up to the 786 level, but we didn't get there. You're forming a range on BNB. You're forming this bottoming range. We're at the value area low right now, which was a box of support that we front ran last time. We hit the daily level. There was a daily level right here that we're hitting just for today. We're hitting it today. You can see that daily. And there was a naked daily point of control just below us. Yeah, daily. Let me go to the weekly real quick. We'll check the weekly. Yeah, it's a weekly level. This is actually a weekly level. It's a weekly and a daily, but I'm going to mark it as a weekly because it's also a weekly, and higher time frame, the better. But the one thing that I was harping about in this entire move up in the past, 10 weeks is this double bottom. We have an exact double bottom at 570, and I do not like that double bottom. I think that's twice the liquidity to be taken out. So you can see at the range lows, double bottom exactly. And we need to take out those lows. And coming down into this zone, let's see, what else did I have there? Why do I have the box? Oh, the box is extending down to your previous range value area low. You can see there was a range in here for about a year. So we had a range in here for about a year. And then we broke it up, expansion to the upside. We rejected from the top. By the way, I was shorting BNB right here. Go back and watch the videos and the live streams from that. What day was that? That was October 7th. Go watch October 7th and then go watch October 13th's live streams. We were in a live stream when this was dumping, this October dump was happening live, and I was talking about a short from the top of the pitchfork. Now, I was in the short from here, and I took profit on this big dump, but I took profit way too early. I had a limit TP set. We were streaming. I actually remember this day. We were streaming. It was a Friday, and we dumped down, and my take profit was at the bottom of the pitchfork band. And then we, double top there. And I missed the SFP double top. I wish I would have got that. That would have been the nicest. But this does look like it could be. Yeah, so your one-to-one correction, if this is a larger A, B, C, you didn't even make it to the one-to-one. So I wouldn't say this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5. I would not say that because you didn't even make it to the one-to-one. So if anything, this is an ABC here or a WXY, a W, and then this is a larger X because an ABC can merge into a larger corrective structure. Coons is talking about that right now with Bitcoin. But this could be a ABC impulse, correction, impulse. This ABC forms a larger W. This corrective range is an X, and then we would need a Y. something like that. We would need a Y. And like, we have some really nice liquidity in here. Look at this, higher low, higher low, higher low. So honestly, taking out that last liquidity right in near that 1.236 around five, that's $500 at $500. And I'm going to set an alert there for swing long. Swing. But the next big level of support is, well, locally, we have we're hitting a weekly today. We are seeing a small bounce from that weekly. But honestly, I would be looking at coming down, and this looks aggressive here. This looks impulsive for sure. Actually, this looks like a contracting diagonal in a wave 1. You get a small wave 2. You're in your wave 3. We might get a small pull up in a wave 4, but it looks like you're going to make one more low. And the naked daily at 586 is just below us, and the daily level is just below us. So maybe coming down and taking out those lows, 586 to 583. And what we would be looking for is this, then this would be like a 1, 2, or maybe this is a 1 and this is a running flat as a 2. This is your 3, and your 3 doesn't look like it's done. You need one more low to finish the 3. So then you would get a 4 and then a 5 to take out those double bottoms at 570. The double bottom at 570. But I don't know if I have an alert there. If not, we will set that right now. So pay attention to 570 for a double bottom SFP long. You're only longing it if you get the SFP, guys. And the way to trade those, for those of you that are newer in here and don't understand swing failure patterns, you want to pierce below the level. Like I would be looking on the 15-minute time frame. If you come down, and I'm not going to cover the Elliott wave part because we would need one more low and then another high and then another impulse down. But let's just say that we're going to come down. You want to pierce the level, breaking it to the downside, and then you want to reclaim it. As soon as you start to reclaim it, and sometimes I'll wait for a 15-minute candle close, sometimes I'll wait for a 5-minute candle close. But as soon as you close like a 15-minute above it, you short, or you long, your stop goes below that wick low. And then you could target at, my TP1 would have to be a target of the back test of the value area low, the value area low. And that still is a 4-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So, and then I would leave some open just in case you get a move up to the value area high. But that's what I'd be looking at, BNB. Solana, man, Solana has been such a bummer too. I'm so mad at myself for not catching the SFP short at 97. I was letting you guys know in the Telegram ahead of time on Solana. Watch out for the SFP into the pitchfork band, and there was also a golden pocket there, I believe, or there was something else here right into that. And if you go back and watch that day, May 11th, I was harping on the SFP of the range highs right into the pitchfork band, and there was, maybe it was a naked weekly point of control there. I think it was a naked weekly point of control there. But this is clearly impulsive to the downside. And even this looks impulsive to the downside. 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, something like that. Impulse, correction, and then 1, 2, 3. We're still maybe going to get a move up now for a 4 and then a 5. That's only your larger wave 3 ending. You would expect another one and then another something like that. I mean, we did SFP the range lows already at $67. We SFP'd those range lows. And that could give us a decent move up over the next week, like a corrective move up. Something similar to like this or something similar to this. But I don't think the overall low is in on Solana. And quite honestly, on Solana, I think the next big support was at like 55 or something. Let's see here. We're breaking our pitchfork down as well. You can see your pitchfork was holding for months. It's breaking down. But let's go to naked dailies. Okay, I don't have any naked dailies, naked weeklies. Naked monthly, that's it. There was a naked monthly at 58. There's a daily at like 61. Yeah, that $58 mark, a weekly and a naked monthly point of control is there. You do have a daily level a little bit above it at 61, but the big support level down below is going to be $58, 58 to 57.6 ish. That's your next big area I would be looking. Our indicator doesn't go back that far anymore, but I've had that marked out on my chart for a long time. So that is a valid naked monthly there from this range. And then if we go back to the weekly chart, it looks like we had our weekly impulse in the bull market, right? Wave one, oops. This is your wave one here. Here's your flat correction in a wave two. And then you get your wave three. This, actually, this is your flat and running flat. You'd have to say running flat here. A wave down, B wave, and then your C wave was a running flat. And then you get your impulse in a wave three. You get your corrective move in a wave four, and then you get your wave five. So our impulse, our bull market impulse finished. Entire bull market. In a aggressive bear market, you can get a move down to the golden pocket. $28 to $31. That is also a very important support resistance flip. Support, 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 resistance, resistance, resistance. That is worst case scenario for me. Let's look at it in a strong trend. So we can put on our 382. And you're pretty much at your 382 right now at $74. You're breaking down the 382. The big thing is, guys, there's not a lot of support. Look at this weekly that was here at 71 has been hit and broken down. The next weekly is at 58, and that's that order block. See this weekly order block in here? It goes from 58 to probably 61, right where that daily was. Yeah, 61 pretty much. So 61 to $58 is where we're looking for that next big support level. I would say this box here, and we're going to make that green. And then we want that to be with our weekly. So our weekly goes a little bit below that. Right there. But 58 is the zone, like between 61 and 58. 58 is definitely the better, like the bottom of the box is the better support. Man, and yeah. In a bullish case scenario, you know, we did just SFP the range lows. In our most bullish case scenario, we're looking for, and by the way, Solana has been so nice. I shorted up here. I longed here. I shorted, or I forget where we longed. We played this range so well in here. But we're looking at, in the bullish case scenario, an A, B, C, and now we're starting to form that accumulation, right? Here's your tap one. We could get a move down here in a tap two. And then if you continue this range, you get that tap three. This is your accumulation that forms over the next few months. And then you get that explosion, expansion phase. So that's what the hope would be for Solana, is that like 58 would be that tap two, or this next zone. Technically, the tap two could be in already because we did make a lower low, but it just doesn't look like it to me. The weekly time frame is just crossing into the red. On Market Cipher, let's go to the daily time frame. Yeah, money flow leaving aggressively, and you're invalidating now the bull divs that we're forming here. So 58, yeah, 58 looks pretty good, guys. To me, I'm actually going to set an alert on that naked monthly point of control for a potential swing long. Can I do, yeah, chicken salt. I can do a video on pitchforks. Okay, I need to scroll up. I'm sorry, guys. Let me check the chat. I haven't been checking the chat. LTC, we can do that. Yeah, look at Bitcoin. Okay, let's look at Bitcoin. What is Bitty Boy doing? We're just consolidating in this triangle, guys. Consolidating within this triangle now. Remember, a triangle is a continuation consolidation pattern. You dump coming into it, you have a higher likelihood of dumping coming out of it. Now, one trick that the market makers like to play with pattern traders like this is they will oftentimes see a little bit of a fake out to either grab liquidity of the second pivot or the top of the triangle. So we have to watch for an SFP of that top of the triangle. We can actually set an alert there at the top of that triangle to look for a short as well. But overall, I covered Bitcoin at the beginning. The value area low of our prior range is coming up to about 65.5, and that's where your one-to-one target is. Your one-to-one target. Even better for me, though, is the 382 at your 382 at your 1.236. At about 66.3 to about 66.6. But I am looking for shorts at this area and then at this area, this zone. It's a zone because I wanted that POC to be included. So this is the next kind of big zone for a short that I would look. Okay. Yeah, no worries, Travie Trades. No worries, man. Yeah, use proper sizing and stick to a plan. Your time attack, you're so right, especially in times like this when a lot of people probably got wrecked, so they want to do some revenge trading. Guys, you cannot revenge trade if you got wrecked and start losing your discipline and risk management. 1 week in a negative balance right now, so my account about to blow. Man, I'm sorry for that. I keep selling. This is frustrating. Well, if you're selling, that's a good thing. And if you're shorting and it going down, now you don't necessarily want to be selling the lows. Vic Surfer 618, what's up, man? I need to see if I can liquidate AC in stock. Okay, let's see. ACN. And guys, I've got about 15 minutes left total here before I absolutely got to go. So I will get to as much as I can. You hit the 1-to-1 trend-based Fibonacci, or yeah, trend-based Fibonacci extinction here. And we're looking at, wait, where was that? Okay, we were looking kind of at like a 1, 2, 3, and it looks like you're bouncing in a 4 right now. But I don't like the way this looks here. You do have bull divs. No, you don't actually because of that hump. Let's look at NAMI in here. Yeah, you do have some very nice bull divs. You see in this is a channel that's forming, and this is called a selling exhaustion channel. So the selling is starting to get exhausted here. You're forming all this bull div and money flows coming up here as you're coming into that 1.618, and it's the bottom of your pitchfork band. So, and you're breaking market structure bullishly now. By taking out these prior lower highs, you broke market structure bullishly, you made a higher low, you flipped the pitchfork band to support, and now you're breaking up. So I would say this is actually looking decent here for a move up. We can pull that channel. And you can see this was your channel, your descending channel. Let me make that pink. I'm just going to hide the pitchfork for a second. You can see that you were chopping within this channel, selling exhaustion, hit the bottom of the channel. That was also your pitchfork band, and you finally hit the 1.618 trend-based Fibonacci extinction. You broke market structure bullishly. You backtest the channel, and it's the channel midline here. It's also your pitchfork band. You can see how you backtested that pitchfork band. Backtest, 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 pump. So what I would be saying is the next major pitchfork level is going to be coming up to this zone of resistance that we had marked out up here that we never hit. Now, it might have changed because obviously some of that was based off fibs. But you have a naked daily point of control at 208, and you have liquidity from those channel highs. It's going to be right around your channel midline. It would be even better to come up to 218 to take the highs at 218, but you might not get up there. I can pull a Fibonacci from the last major daily highs to the lows, and the 382, look at where you're rejecting. In a strong trend, I would say so far, this has been a very strong trend. You bounce, you come up to the 382, you're starting to see a rejection from the 382. You do not want to break market structure bearishly here, or this is likely to continue to make new lows. And you're probably going to come down to the bottom of the pitchfork at like the 140-ish area. So that 382 strong trend rejection should give you a hint that this thing might overall continue bearishly. What we can do, though, is because more locally you broke market structure bullishly, so locally you have to go with a bullish bias. On the macro time frame, you're going with a bearish bias, but you might be able to get a move up to 208. What I would be looking at now is, okay, what golden pocket is that? Yeah, that is your rejection there, directly straight from the 382. So zooming in on this thing, we want to look at this market structure in here. And if we start to break this market structure bearishly, that is probably going to be the high. And that you probably did reject straight from the 382. So we can go in onto the 2 hour and we pay attention to this structure. And you do not want to break market structure bearishly. So essentially, we're going to be looking at like a low. I would say it's this guy right in here at 174. If you start to break 174, you could even throw it actually at this low at 175.38. If you break below 175.38, it's your first break in market structure because you have your high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So actually I would go with this one here at 174. Let's say 174. If you break that, you're going to now essentially, after rejecting from the 382, you're going to be breaking market structure bearishly, meaning that you have a much, much higher likelihood of continuing down to take out these lows. Around 140, though, you might see a nicer, bigger bottom. And essentially, what you could also do is once this selling exhaustion started here, you can pull a volume profile from the start of the selling exhaustion to current. Yeah, and it was pretty much your value area high as well. So you rejected the 382, which was right before the value area high. You're trying to hold the POC. So it's very clear what's going to happen here. You're either going to hold this now and continue up to like 208 to 208 to 210. If you lose this, you're probably going to go to the value area low, which would be an SFP of these guys, all of these little liquidity trail. You have a huge liquidity trail here. You might get a small bounce from that because it's your pitchfork band, but you might then go up and make a lower high before seeing the continuation, right? A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's the key to watch. Watch 174. If you break that, it's not looking good. If you can bounce from where we're at now, you might come up to 208. I mean, it's likely you could come up to 208. Let's see if we have any naked weeklies. Nope. Naked dailies. Well, it's not going to go back that far, but this is still fresh. It has not been hit since we've marked it out. So yeah, that's what I would say there. Okay, let's see here. Okay, guys, if you posted an altcoin and I didn't catch it, in the chat, can you please repost it at the bottom of the chat? Oh, LTC. I'll go through LTC real quick and post your coin in the chat. And also, please hit the like button, guys. If you like these live streams where we go through all coins and go through trade setups, please hit the like button. Not a lot is happening with Bitcoin right now, so obviously we're not really following Bitcoin because it's just consolidating in a triangle. But please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. Man, okay. You lost this upper range that you've been in since your last bear market. This is pretty much your whole bear market range. Look at what happened. Oh, okay. So our volume profile shifted, but we're losing the value area low. Let me get rid of that. We're losing the value area low of that range, which held for 1, 2, 3 months. You know, like all of this was holding, but you lost it. That's already modified. Okay. Honestly, the next thing to look at is taking out these lows at $40. Like, it's very likely we're going to come down to $40 to take out those lows at 40. Because if we close the weekly candle below the value area low of this range, that is, you know, 1,500 days long almost, you're looking to come down there. You could even include this little bit. Yeah, it doesn't change anything. So coming down to $40, and actually I want to set an alert on that because that could be a really nice swing long at $40. But it does. It looks like this was just like with Bitcoin, a 3-wave corrective move, and now you're impulsing down here. So this impulse is likely to continue down to 40. Very, very likely to continue. That doesn't mean you won't see small bounces along the way, right? You're probably going to see some sort of small bounces. And this even could be a wave 1, and then you have that running flat in a wave 2. Just like with Bitcoin, guys, let me go back to Bitcoin really quickly. And I want to show you because this looks like one giant drop, but you do have a running flat in there. A good example of that is Bitcoin right here. This looks like one giant drop from 98 to 60, but you have this you have a wave 1 here, and then you have this little running flat right here. And then you get the continuation in a big move, right? So that's a little running flat, and that was about a week long. Now, if we go back to LTC, you can see very, very similarly a big move, and then you kind of get this running flat in here, and then we're continuing. Yeah. It is good. If today's daily candle closes above this low, you might be seeing an SFP of this low, and you might be able to get a move back up to back test that value area low. Yeah, I would say that's what I would be watching for. If the daily candle today closes above 45, you might be able to see a corrective move to come back up to back test 51, or even better would be the POC around the pitchfork bottom. But this, to me, is going to be a swing short opportunity from 53.5 down to 40. So that's going to be your POC, and I want to set an alert there. Short to 40. If we're getting bear divs as we're coming up there, if and only if we're getting that corrective, a 3-wave corrective move up to there with some bear divs. But the fact that we're losing the value area low of a 5-year long range, or like what, 4, 8, 12, 16, yeah, almost a 4-year long range, is a very bad sign. I bet you we have a naked weekly in there as well. Let's check to see if we have a naked weekly there. Yeah, you do have naked weeklies in there. And your naked monthly is there. Okay, that's it, guys. That's the area, guys. So at 53.5 to $54, major resistance. It's going to be the back test of your pitchfork that you're breaking down from. naked weekly, naked monthly point of control, range point of control. Probably close to your golden pocket. Your golden pocket's probably going to be a little bit high, and your golden pocket. Yeah, that's definitely. Yep. Okay. Definitely your area of resistance. That's a swing short right there for me, guys. Super strong confluence. $54. 53.5 to $54. Okay. AVAX. Where are we at here? AVAX. You're breaking this range, same thing. You're breaking it down. Did we take out the lows yet? If you haven't taken out the lows, then I would be okay. You did SFP the lows earlier today, so you could get a move up again. Very similarly, guys, on this, you could get a move up. We have two ranges. We have our 4-month long range. The value area low of that range is at 821. Every time you break a range down, if you see an SFP of the actual range lows, you're likely to backtest the value area low. Now, if you reject, you expect continuation to the downside. If you SFP the range lows and you get back inside of the range, you're actually likely to work your way up to value area high. So the backtest of 821.3 is going to be super, super important, especially if we close this within the SFP today. And then we have our larger range on the weekly time frame. We have this whole upper range that goes back to February of 2021. It's pretty much the life of the coin, actually. But the value area low of that range is here at 822. So yeah, pretty much 821, 822 is going to be your big zone. Now, Binance got this big wick down to $8, but Coinbase didn't. And on the Coinbase chart, I honestly like the Coinbase chart because that wick is not there, right? And what I would be looking at is, yeah, I guess we don't have as much price action on the Coinbase chart, but essentially we're just trying to play that range anyways, this small range right here anyways. We can get rid of these now. They broke through. Essentially, you bounce from value area low, reject from POC. Now you lose it. Did we take out the range lows on Coinbase? Okay, we did take out the range lows on Coinbase as well. So a nice SFP there, guys. A very nice SFP. If the daily candle closes above, we're likely in the next week or so to see a relief rally. Oh, wow. The Coinbase value area low is a lot higher than Binance. 880. Is that right? Jeez. Oh, sorry, guys. It's at 880. The 5-year long range is at 821. We want to be paying attention to this mini range right now. Mini meaning a few months, not years. So 880 is 878 to about 880 is our key back test. Because we're SFPing this, you likely come up and see a bearish backtest. If it rejects, you expect to make new lows. If it doesn't reject and you can get back inside, you're likely to push up towards the value area high, which is also probably going to be where your golden pocket is. Actually, your golden pocket's going to be at the POC. So you're likely to push up to this golden pocket POC area, about 917 to 920 or 930, let's say. Okay, let me check, guys. I'll check Tao for like 1 minute, but I'm out of time here. Please hit the like button if you like today's. We're breaking down from this triangle. We came to your golden pocket at 207. Actually, last time we looked at the stream, I talked about this golden pocket at 207 to 201. Go watch Tuesday's stream and go watch last Friday's stream. We talked about this golden pocket. 201 to 207. So you are coming into a pretty key support level at 201 to 207. It's kind of your support resistance flip as well. Support, resistance, resistance. It's your support resistance flipping here. Man. And if you're looking at the A, B, C, or a WXY, you'd probably be looking at this as a 3-wave move and a W, 3-wave move and an X, 3-wave move and a Y. You are coming down to the golden pocket. And remember, on Tau, we were looking at this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So an impulse followed by a complex correction down to golden pocket. This could really be a nice swing long area. So far, I don't like the way we would have to look at this move down, and let's see if we're hitting the 1-to-1 there. Yeah, you're hitting the 1-to-1 to the 1.236. Perfect. So this is actually a very nice support level. Unfortunately, we don't have bull divs on the daily. I mean, I would really like to see some bull divs, but you might chop around here for a couple days now. So this could have been it. And then now you're going to kind of chop in here for a few days, maybe even over the weekend, and then you want to see a move up. But it is a nice support level on Tau. Yeah, money flow looks pretty bad. You are seeing bull divs on both NAMI and Market Cipher. So maybe we get one more low, because we're still very, very locally. You're still not changing market structure bullish. Lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So I may, if we can take out that low from earlier today, we're at the macro support level, just about here at the support level. So we want to see a range starting to form. But for me personally, because we don't know if Bitcoin is going to capitulate more, I would want to see this, you know, bounce from support, maybe take out that low, and I would want to see a break in market structure. Yeah, ZEC, okay. Hitting that. Let's see if we get this SFP into the bottom of the pitchfork band at 510. I guess we'll stay on for a couple minutes here to see if that works. Actually, this... Yeah, 510 to about 504. We might see a bounce from there, but you're breaking your value area low down. You can see throughout the day, yesterday tried to bounce. Throughout the day, it was trying to hold. We're breaking it down. Unfortunately, ZEC could come a lot lower, guys. A lot lower. 486 is the next big SFP level I would be looking at. Crypto Rocket, thank you, man. You have spent so much time doing Tau already. Took the time to do Tau. Yeah, absolutely. What I would say, Crypto Rocket, is Tau is at a pretty good support level, but we have to wait for some sort of sign of strength. So you want to see that change in market structure, man. You want to wait for that thing to get a change going. And if we can start to change, like after, and you might get one more low here, right? But you want to see a break in market structure, and that'll give you your first sign of strength. You want to break one of these lower highs. Oops. After breaking one of those lower highs, you're going to get a bullish market structure break. Now, you don't want to long on the break of the high. You want it to break the high, and then you want it to kind of pull back to the local golden pocket, pulled from the low to wherever that high is. And this golden pocket would be the long for me, because it's essentially changing market structure, making a higher low, and then you would expect a higher high. So that's what we're looking for there. But it is at support. All right, ZEC, guys, is coming down to that pitchfork band, but if you're going to take this trade, because I'm about to hop off stream here, if you're going to take this trade, you want it to bounce from the bottom of the pitchfork band and then start to reclaim that low. And then you would long on the reclaim of the low. Your stop would go below that. The scary thing about this long, though, is you could just bounce from the bottom band, reclaim that just to reject here. You could do something like this: bounce, reject, and then continue. So it's, if you want it to be safer, you would have to wait for the reclaim of the value area low. Bounce from the bottom of the band, SFP this, and then reclaim the value area low. And in that case, you would probably want to be targeting value area high to make it worth it, you know. I don't like that because your first resistance is the POC in the top of the pitchfork band, and that's not a good enough risk to reward. Now, if you bring it down here, it is a good enough risk to reward. But essentially, that's what you're waiting for. Anyways, guys, I do got to get going. Look, we are bouncing from the bottom of the pitchfork band. I personally would wait for a 5-minute candle close above that low. So you want to wait for a 5-minute candle close above this low here. And if you don't get it, you don't take the trade. Money flow looks really bad here on the 5-minute. Let's go to the 15-minute. Money flow looks bad on the 15-minute. You do have potential bull divs, but locally your bull divs on NAMI are being invalidated. What it looks like to me is this might not play out. This might not play out. Yeah, money flow looking bad, looking bad. You do have potential bull div setup, but the money flow is going to overpower that. So unfortunately, guys, the next long trade I would look for is the SFP of 486.8. But thank you guys so much. Please hit the like button on your way out. Remember, if you want to join the Telegram, just sign up to BYDFI using my affiliate link. Deposit the minimum deposit of $100 or more. Once you've done that, you click the Telegram link in the description of this video, and you type in /verify and then your user ID for BYDFI, and you'll get into the Telegram. All these alerts that I'm setting on the coins, guys, when I'm not streaming or making a video, I try to let you know in the Telegram when I take these trades. I try to keep you updated on Bitcoin throughout the day on the trades in the Telegram. So if you want to get those updates when I'm not live, pretty much you just join the Telegram. But thank you guys so much. Much love to you all, and I will see you tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow.